Hey everyone, Charting Man Dan of the Chart Guys. Before we get to the charts, we've got another free ebook, this one about growing a small account, which is how most of us begin this journey. I started back with $3,000 in 2010. Key aspects to consider: how account sizes affect strategy, risk management, what to mentally prepare for, when to go aggressive versus conservative. Author, the wonderful Chartgal Dinsey. Check it out, the link will be in the comments of this video. So we had a key support defense from the bulls this morning. Pre-market, we were dumping into the open. So we had some pretty beat up 5 and 15 minute RSI levels testing a key support level. And I approached this week saying, for me, the most important thing is the low of Thursday. That's now our benchmark level. If we lose the low of Thursday, things shift. If we hold the low of Thursday, bulls keep complete control. And right now, after this low of Thursday hold, daily bull flags are still on the table for SPY and QQQ. We have the FOMC minutes Wednesday at 2 p.m. We have the CPI numbers for March Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. So a bit of fundamental action midweek. And the only resistance on SPY right now is 411.92, the recent high. And we can absolutely keep this daily uptrend going. Then we have the resistance zone 413 to 417 to be watching. But again, if bears cannot take out support, we're just going to keep heading higher. And we've had a higher low, higher low, higher low, and now another higher low off of that level. QQQ is the same. The low of Thursday, 312.82, we held it by about 30, make that 43 cents. We haven't broken the high of Thursday yet, but it's just a V-shaped bounce. We dumped Thursday morning and V-shape bounced off this level. We dumped this morning and V-shape bounced off that level. So 318.55 is key resistance. And we are going to be looking for an hourly higher low to be the result of next consolidation. And that's how we approached the morning. The setup for the morning was look for names that have a lot of space for hourly higher lows, because hourly higher lows is the most likely scenario. And I had a bit of a frustrating trading day today, where it's the difference between flow state and lack of flow state is the difference between nailing trades and just missing trades. And I just missed 2 trades today, and it got me frustrated. And we'll talk about those in just a bit. It was AI and RIOT. So write this level down. QQQ 312.82. Simple statement. If this level is holding, then the bulls have full control. I'm not going bearish as long as that level is support. Right now, my IRA is pretty flat. I'm probably going to keep it that way into the data on Wednesday. But if there weren't data on Wednesday, I would definitely be looking to shift back to the bull lean after this support hold. But I'm going to sit tight and patiently wait. Semiconductors, solid bounce as well. Gap to fill was at 256.41. So it hasn't filled on SMH by 5 pennies. The only hope for bears is a head and shoulders here. And that means we would need to top out tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest and then roll over and break 249.28. But the same thing, simple statement. If 249.28 is holding, the bulls have absolute complete control. If we lose that level, things shift notably. And I'm still in a small NVDA short and did not like that today just because bulls could see relative strength really early on. Within the first 45 minutes, we could see that NVDA was holding on a lot stronger than QQQ. So we filled the gap here. And the only reason I'm still in this trade is because it is a smaller position, being a swing position, and my break even is right around 280. So I do have some profit cushion to work with. And after seeing the relative strength this morning, I said if I had a larger position, I would be exiting some of it because bulls are holding support. But I am going to give this a chance to play out. And if we break 280 with any kind of follow through, I will stop out and essentially just give back profit from the trade from last week. XLV. Healthy daily consolidation. We knew that daily consolidation would be inevitable. Higher low every day, stair-step pattern 7 days in a row, and broke that into daily consolidation. Didn't get to hourly oversold conditions or even close, and a potential daily bull flag is remaining on the table. And the daily EMA 12 support is going to be catching up. JNJ pulling back in this swing trade. And again, I'm not going to update JNJ very much these days. And that's just because If it's holding 150, I'm still in a position. What my goal has been in this bear market has been to build positions where I just set a stop loss and I either stop out risk-free, break even, or I hold the positions for long term if the market bulls are able to come out of this bear market in terms of, have it already be over. But a lot of proving needs to be done in the broader market. I'll do a bigger picture. Over this past weekend, I did an update on the long-term chart patterns, and that was with BABA and COST and NEE and CCJ. So check that out on our YouTube channel if you haven't seen it yet, but I'll do another check-in on the broader market longer-term timeframes towards the end of April. We've got earnings coming up. Financial sector earnings are Friday. They begin on Friday. So XLF, as I mentioned last week, the most important thing for me is, do we confirm the daily uptrend? Do our weaker sectors continue to join Team Bull? And if XLF gets over 32.34, then the answer will be yes, and we'll be in a daily uptrend. And KRE had some relative strength today, but overall we can see it still has a lot of work to do. Still in a daily downtrend, still daily EMA 12 resistance, declining bull volume on this bounce. So yes, KRE was a little bit stronger than XLF today, but that does not mean it's strong. And I don't have any confidence in KRE bulls until we break the daily lower highs. And for me, anything under 45 is just another daily lower high, and that is 5% away. But XLF, key resistance test approaching. If we confirm the daily uptrend, we zoom out. We know we're still going to be looking for a weekly lower high, but that will at least be trying to negate the weekly bear flag that is still a possibility right now. IWM, daily higher low set. So 1 day behind XLF in setting that daily higher low. Have to break 179.78 to confirm the daily uptrend. There's a lot of space for a potential lower high compared to that level. And if the broader market bulls keep this up, if they keep the daily higher lows, if they break to the higher high, I'm watching growth names to be laggards, because names like ARKK are range bound, and I'm going to be watching for them to try and join Team Bull. So Snow, another, if we just look bigger picture on these names, you can see they're still grinding down and now a little bit sideways. And just keeping in mind, Bitcoin, which we'll talk about in just a moment because it just broke to the highest level in many months again, but it had that same thing. It was all bear and then it traded sideways a bit. So again, I'm just watching for our other growth names going to do the same thing. So Snow, PLTR, just sideways. And we know that these ranges are going to break eventually. So keeping an eye on them. And ARK, again, sideways. Boring, but we know that boring leads to volatility, just like Bitcoin showed us. Bitcoin, we over the past couple of days, starting last week, I was able to say Bitcoin is likely going to break bull, or no, I didn't say that. Bitcoin is likely going to break this week because the volatility was the lowest it has been in the year. We were in the tightest range that we had been, and we know tight ranges mean watch for the volume spike and watch for volatility. And so the bulls broke to the highest level that we've seen in 6+ months. Granted, there's no follow through at the moment, but we're keeping the higher lows and we're keeping grinding EMA 12. And so the big frustration for me today, it wasn't AI. I did stop out on AI this morning while I was live streaming, and the game plan was looking for the hourly higher low. So we had that big bounce on Thursday. Congrats to the bulls that got it. We were watching the support zone just above 20, and we bounced 15% plus off that level. So that went really well. And that gave a lot of space for an hourly higher low to be the result of consolidation. So on the morning pullback, I'm looking for an hourly higher low. And really what faked me out today was relative strength and weakness. And that's been helping me a lot with my trading over the last few years. But today it threw me off because AI had relative strength comparative to QQQ because it held the low of the day here with a double bottom and got a bounce going. So I recognize, okay, that's relative strength because at that point in time, QQQ was hitting fresh lows. Say, all right, well, I know QQQ is due for a bounce. We've got 15-minute RSI in the teens, 5-minute RSI in the teens, and we're approaching key daily support. And so I was looking for a play on a name that had relative strength to benefit from the QQQ bounce. And so at this point in time, I made an entry right about here or so. So at about 10 a.m. and you look at QQQ, and at 10 a.m. we are just finding a bottom. So it's a bit tricky because we had relative strength right here, and then it shifted into one more leg down, and that leg down stopped me out. I had, an entry at just around 22 and a stop at 21.69. I was trying to sell half in the 22.40s, just missed that. But my point is, it threw me off because we had relative strength. QQQ hit a fresh low. AI did not. AI bounced. Then QQQ was finding a bottom and trading sideways, and AI hit a fresh low when QQQ did not. So it was almost like it, played a little bit of catch up and it lost its relative strength. Anyways, long story short, I stopped out. We then got the hourly higher low and a very notable big bounce. What is that, a 6%, 7% bounce? So this is what I was looking for, and I was just one move too early. So that in itself, no big deal. That happens all the time if you are trading actively as a day trader. But then the RIOT one got me. And the RIOT one got me because I knew, number one, I know Bitcoin's going to break. And even pre-market, I was talking on the live stream and I said, I haven't been trading these crypto names, but I know I'm about to start trading them actively again because Bitcoin is going to break, it's very likely to break this daily equilibrium this week. And when it does, whatever direction it's in, we will see volatility in these crypto names return. And so I was ready for the Bitcoin break this week. And so I then saw relative strength in these crypto names all morning. And I'm trying to find exactly when I was talking about that, because again, it was standing out notably to me. So at 11:12, I had the whole thing laid out. So all these crypto names, relative strength standing out all morning. Looks to me like the bulls are making bets for the direction Bitcoin will break its tightening range. And at that point in time, 11:12, Bitcoin was right here. So had not started its breakout yet. It was, revving its engines a little bit. And so in addition to that, I'm watching for the potential 15-minute higher low entries next consolidation. Essentially, I said, all right, this action is showing me that bulls are placing bets that Bitcoin's going to break bull. And I missed the initial move off the lows, but I'm scouting the 15-minute higher lows. And again, it was the relative strength and weakness that threw me off here because it was all relative strength from the low of the day. And then on this pullback, no big deal. We're looking for a 15-minute higher low. I'm watching 15-minute EMA 12. I made my first entry at 9:49. And then I was planning on making a second entry at 9:45. I'm talking about the price, not the time. And it was relative weakness showed up notably again. And that threw me off because for me, if bulls are placing their bets that Bitcoin is going to break bull, they want to be buying consolidation. So QQQ bottomed on this drop at 12:05 p.m. and RIOT at 12:05 p.m. is right here. So it's almost bottoming, but we hit fresh lows from there. And so we are still hitting the lows at 12:30. And by 12:30, QQQ was up here. So we had 15 minutes plus of bounce underway, and RIOT was not responding at all. And not only that, there was no bid support. I was using a position size that I've traded with plenty of times, and there was a lot of slippage in terms of doing a little bit of flipping, buying and selling. So I ended up with an entry at 9:49. I think my second entry was 9:41. I recognized relative weakness. I sold half of it right here at 9:44 to drop, my cost basis. And then I stopped out on the fresh low. 9:38 was that low at that point, or no, it was 9:39. And I gave up on this trade. And the reason I gave up, it wasn't a big loss, but I gave up on this trade because of the relative weakness. And I was saying, well, where are the bulls? They were here the whole time. They've disappeared. They are no longer exist. And if I'm anticipating a QQQ 5-minute low or high, which it didn't end up being, but that was the more likely scenario for me due to the size of that drop, I was just saying, you know, RIOT is not positioned well at all if QQQ sets a 5-minute lower high here. And so then the bulls showed up in a big way with big volume when Bitcoin broke bull. And then from there, it was all bull. And so at that point, I just had to be done for the day because I was extremely frustrated, because this is exactly what I was looking for. The only thing that threw me was that we just lost the relative strength. If we had bottomed here at 938, it would have been good to go. But just that couple extra little drops to lower lows completely threw me. So that's the way it goes. Frustrated. But higher high. Again, the crypto names all standing out. Coin getting a daily bounce underway, closing up at the high of the day. We had MARA acting as a laggard, tightening range, trying to break bull. 912 key level. We broke that by a couple pennies. GBTC, bull break. So nice bull breaks on crypto names. That's not a real candle after hours. So now the question is, does Bitcoin follow through, or is it a bull break with no follow through? Because we've seen plenty of bull breaks with no follow through recently. So bulls want to ensure that we get up over 30,000. And I'm going to do a crypto video later tonight when I'm back from the gym. So frustrated. That's the way it goes. Some days, you know, there's a parallel universe where I nail that AI trade and I nail that RIOT trade and I talk about flow state in this video. And this was just the exact opposite. Just missing. Dollar, daily bounce underway. We're watching for this weekly high or low to try and form. We've had a weekly stair step drop for the last month. 182 is still support. If we get some more follow through, it'll be a weekly high or low and we'll have a tightening range to be watching. But we need a daily uptrend to confirm. 103.06 is resistance. Anything under that's a lower high. We must confirm a daily uptrend for the weekly high or low to be confidently set. But with that, the metals are pulling back. Gold is testing daily EMA 12, and it's looking like weekly consolidation may be shaping up in the metals. We've been going up for the last 5 weeks, not as significantly in gold, but you look at silver, and it's a solid 5-week move with not much consolidation along the way. Gold had some periods of consolidation. So we're watching if the dollar bulls set this weekly high or low. We're going to be looking for weekly consolidation in the metals. And I will be interested in swing trade entries for weekly high or lows in gold and silver because of what the bulls have proven to us over the last month. But I need that weekly consolidation if I'm going to have the risk reward setup that I want to be making those entries. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out for them over the next week or two. And for now, silver's still holding on just fine. You can see that gold weakness is a bit more notable the last couple of days. So we're going to patiently be keeping an eye on the metals with a swing trade mindset. Oil testing the recent low from the gap up. Base of support in the 79s. And you can see bulls are just, pretty much it's just 79s. It's not a single level. So 79s support, 81s resistance. We've topped out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in the 81s. And we've topped out, or we bottomed out 3, 4 times in the 79s, trying for a 5th time. So just sideways and tight. If we break bear, we're in gap fill territory. We're going to watch for first hourly. And actually, I take that back. We've already seen hourly oversold. We will watch for 4-hour oversold if we get daily consolidation. And there's a lot of space for a daily high or low. Again, we're at this weekly resistance, a whole bunch of resistance, 81 to 83. And we're struggling just under that level after that gap up, which isn't surprising. Bull's a bit tired on the gap up. Natural gas. I'm interested in the natural gas bulls because we keep breaking support with zero follow through. I'm looking for a weekly bounce to shape up. And we actually already broke the high of last week already. So the weekly bounce is underway. We must see the 4-hour trend change here. The last thing the bull wants to see is a megaphone. So, and this would be support. I mean, it is a megaphone right now. And the way to get out of this megaphone would be, in an ideal world, consolidate for a 4-hour high or low, hold EMA 12 on a back test, and then confirm the 4-hour uptrend. We have not confirmed a 4-hour uptrend in a long time. So that's what is needed from here to have confidence that this move can follow through, and it's not just going to keep doing this brutal megaphone. So that is where we stand. Again, burden on bears. Bulls defended support as they needed to. And they're going to stay in full control as long as the low of Thursday remains support. We'll see what the fundamental reactions give us on Wednesday. And we'll see you before then tomorrow. Appreciate you watching. Do good things.
As someone who's put in thousands of hours learning technical analysis and trading, it's certainly been a useful skill to have in current society. But I also recognize that there's many things that could happen that make that skill set absolutely useless. And so one way that I diversify my skill sets as a human is to ensure that I am able to grow food, identify wild food, and be able to have that kind of skill in case things ever went wrong or in case I was ever in a situation where I had to know how to do those things. So I'll take you now around the yard and look at a bunch of weeds that are edible, all things that I didn't plant that just grow naturally in the area. These are plantains. They're edible, but they're also good for skin. Whenever I get a bee sting, I'll just chew some of that up and put it on, and it definitely seems to help. And if not, placebo's good. It's wild. This is like just the middle of the grass, and there are literally millions of people that would look at that and get frustrated, and then go out and they buy chemicals. They spend their money to buy chemicals, to put chemicals on their lawn where they live, where children and animals play, in the hopes of stamping out a whole bunch of edible stuff and a whole bunch of biodiversity. It's one of the most insane things that humans currently do, and we do a lot of insane things in this day and age. These are all wild strawberries that I didn't plant, and they certainly don't give the giant sweet red fruit of the cultivated varieties. They give some nice little edible berries. These are wild onions. They're one of the first plants that come out in the spring, but as the name suggests, you can eat them just like onions or chives. These are purple dead nettles just growing on the side of the compost pile, and you can eat those raw or saute them down like spinach. So we got one very common one here, dandelion. You can eat the flower, the leaves, the roots, and they are all over. These are violets. So the flower and the leaves of the violet, those are edible.